My top 10 scariest movies of all time. Now, this is mostly going to be movies I saw in my childhood that actually impacted me the first time I saw them. Although there's a few rare cases where I saw them later in life and it actually spooked me out. The thing is, for a lot of horror fans, we get desensitized to this stuff, and it's hard to find movies that actually scare us beyond a simple jump scare, you know? And even most of those don't work anymore. Put on your diapers, let's get into this thing. Welcome back to the Act of Violence channel. My name is Alec. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 movies that actually scared me. Without further ado, let's get into this with number 10, Fire in the Sky. So upon making this list, I actually learned about myself that I actually find aliens really scary, apparently, at least when they're done right. And Fire in the Sky is no exception. Sure, a lot of this movie isn't scary. It isn't even hardly horror. But it's fascinating, it's good, it's gripping. It's a good drama. But once you get to the ending scene, where you actually see this guy's retelling of his abduction story, which, by the way, is based on a true story, the Travis Walton story. Now, let's face it, we all know that guy was lying, but I wish he wasn't, because it's fascinating. However, this scene haunts my dreams, and in the best way possible. It still does to this day. It's one of those movies that you get a little bit of a nervous feeling before you put it in, and it's only movies on this list do I really get that with. And then some of them, it's not as strong as others and they're higher on the list. But this one, I'm a little nervous for that ending scene. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend checking it out. Oh, and how did I not mention this? It stars the T-1000 from Terminator 2. Now, he's not the guy who was abducted, but pretty much he's the main character. Next up is number 9, The Ring. Okay, I feel like this is probably on a lot of these kind of lists. But listen, I was a kid when I saw this. This one ruined me. We still had tapes around the house, you know what I mean? I grew up in this culture, so this is a frightening one, and it's, again, I brought up getting those nerves before you watch a movie, and I get it before I watch The Ring. And it doesn't actually end up really scaring me when I watch it. It's really just the precursor, the anxiety of watching it with the memory of how I felt when I was a kid. Honestly, solid movie though, holds up pretty well. We love Naomi Watts. And number 8 is going to be the Maniac remake starring Elijah Wood. Now, if nothing else, this is one of those movies that I saw later in life, obviously. I think it came out about 10 years ago, and I hadn't seen Maniac, the original. Now I have seen both. I own both on DVD. First of all, I love this. The soundtrack to this movie is incredible. It's impeccable. Great. But this movie has a lot of the stuff shot in the actual POV of Elijah Wood. Like when he's actually like strangling people and stuff, not just like sneaking around, you know. It takes that like POV of the killer a step further, and I really appreciate that about this movie. It is truly terrifying and unsettling to watch. Number 7 is The Hills Have Eyes remake. I know, 2 remakes. I wouldn't even necessarily say that I like the Maniac remake better than the original. If I had to think about it long enough, I might. But as far as The Hills Have Eyes goes, I definitely like the remake more, which almost feels like sacrilege to say, but it scared the living piss out of me. I was probably, 15, 14 when this movie came out? Is it from 2006? I would have been 15. And it's truly unsettling to watch now, mostly because of, the sexual scenes. That stuff is really brutal in these movies. And when I originally saw this, I don't even know if I knew it was a remake or anything. But I think it's one of the best remakes there is. And it's still truly terrifying. I recommend checking it out if you haven't. Number 6, The Descent. Okay, so there's not going to be any stuff on this list that's too crazy and underground. I've seen a decent amount of crazy and underground stuff, but I wasn't going for shock factor stuff or stuff that makes you sick. I didn't put Tusk on this list or anything like that. And that's mainly because I don't really feel scared when I watch that. I feel grossed out, maybe a little existential, but I wouldn't describe it as scared. The Descent I saw in theaters, and I was like, I'm never going near a cave, ever. And not even because of the creatures in the cave. Caves are scary enough without Gollum crawling around in there trying to eat you. And that's what I truly was reminded of. These were evil, demonic versions of Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Because I was a pretty decent Lord of the Ring fan when by the time this movie was coming out. I had watched those movies for a few years. I'm pretty sure I went on a date to this movie too. I don't really remember though. Truly horrifying, terrifying. Number 5, Paranormal Activity. Now, when this came out, I worked at the movie theater, and it was all the rage, and I kind of just like casually went with one of my roommates one morning, like 11 a.m., to a screening of this. Can't believe at one point. And I had no idea what to expect out of this movie. I hadn't watched any trailers or anything. I knew that it was called Paranormal Activity. I was a big Ghostbusters fan, so I was like, ooh, Paranormal Activity. I'm down with that. Let's go see that. Much like Blair Witch, this kind of like was a cultural icon when it came out. Like, you know, it blew up. And I don't know what it is. There's something about this movie that actually terrified me when I saw it. Maybe it's something about not being able to see what's happening. Like when there's footprints happening, you're like, oh my God, what's there? You know, I don't know, it's very unique and interesting. Now, I will say, I like the second one and the third one, and I haven't seen past that. Really, the first one's the only one that deserved to be on this list. Number 4, Jacob's Ladder. Now, this is a movie I've put on a couple other lists before. I've never done a full review of it, but I probably will eventually because this is such a weird and strange movie. It's almost not straight horror, but it's so horrifying that like you can't not call it horror. And Tim Robbins is a treasure. That guy is great. That is a great actor. And this has some scenes that are just as terrifying to me as the scene in Fire in the Sky. Like, they're very comparable, like, body horror, torture, like, ugh, makes me uncomfortable even thinking about it. And I love that there's still movies that can actually bother me. I'm not completely desensitized yet. Next up on the list, number 3, It Follows. I feel like this has also got to be on a lot of people's lists. Normally, supernatural and paranormal stuff doesn't always do it for me. Aliens seem a little more realistic than ghosts. I don't know what it is. When I made this list, that became apparent to me. However, Paranormal Activity made it on the list. It Follows, The Ring. There is plenty of supernatural stuff on here, so apparently some of it does spook me out. And mainly for this one, it's the music and the imagery, the combination of them is perfect. The pulse-pounding, anxiety-inducing score combined with the slow-moving, monstrous-looking people, sometimes fairly normal, but they're always spooky in some degree, and it I don't know what it is, but it just still works, even 10 years later. And I hear they're making a sequel. I'm not necessarily stoked for that. I can see how you can make a sequel off of it, but we'll just have to see. I'm interested. This is definitely one of my favorite modern horror movies, although, you know, it's 10 years old at this point, let's be honest. Number 2 on the list, Signs. Yes, another alien movie, and perhaps one of the most terrifying experiences I had as a child. Nothing terrified me more than when that alien walked across the screen during that birthday party in, what was it, Brazil? I don't know, but god damn, absolutely terrifying scene. Another one. So Mel Gibson goes and sees the guy that killed his wife accidentally, and he says, I've locked one of them in the pantry. Don't let him out. He goes in there and like, you have that moment where he comes back in and sees the hand scratch at him. That's terrifying. I sweat up in anticipation and like I focus in on the movie when that's about to happen because it's like I don't want to miss it. I want to have that little bit of fear that I had when I watched it when I was a kid. And in the number 1 spot, The Shining. Okay, I know, kind of predictable, right? I'd say a lot of my list was kind of predictable, but I was trying to be as honest as I could be. I wasn't trying to give you like a cool ass list and be a cool dude with lots of like horror cred or anything, but this is just what I came out with. But let's be honest. Who among us saw The Shining as a kid and wasn't terrified by it? Now, if I had to do some honorable mentions, I would say The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Exorcist, but I think it's mainly because I saw them when I was 11 years old, so it was like, these are just terrifying. Like, they're terrifying when nothing scary is happening. Let me know what your top 10 scariest movies of all time is in the comments below. I want to hear about it. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.